Hello and welcome. This is Wilrens for Create a Learning Site, the place to go deeper in your understanding of the Bible. There is a reason why I called this site Create a Learning Site. The name combines two of my passions, learning and creating. I love to learn and I love to share what I'm learning. I created the learning site as a platform to learn and to share. I was reminded of this the other day watching a TEDx talk on YouTube. The subject was how to know your life purpose in 5 minutes, or rather in 5 questions. And question 2 was, what do you love to do? What do you feel supremely qualified to teach other people? Well, I don't know if I feel supremely qualified, but I do know what I love to do. For me, the answer must be to learn. This led me to the idea of doing an issue on learning itself. After all, if we teach and train others in some way, if we lead or if we preach, we need to keep growing ourselves or we will run out of ideas and our ideas will run out of freshness. Therefore, we need to keep learning. But how? First, a warning. Learning can be unsettling. According to Jean Piaget, a pioneer in the field of developmental psychology, learning takes place in one of two ways. Most commonly, we learn by integrating new knowledge into what we already know. By connecting the new with the old, we manage to make sense of it. This assumes the new can be made to fit with the old, with what we already knew. This does not always work. There may be contradictions and tensions that lead to discord and dissonance. And this is where learning gets unsettled and where deeper learning can take place at the same time. Now, our response can be that we reject the new or we look for ways to explain it away. But the alternative is that the tension leads us to reconsider what we thought we knew, and that we, as a result, we significantly change our beliefs, assumptions, former conclusions, and so forth. Obviously, the second type of learning goes much deeper than the first and may be accompanied by a period of uncertainty and even anguish. In other words, learning is dangerous. Now, if this does not hold you back, here are a few ideas. One, take responsibility for your learning. In a traditional understanding of teaching and education, it's clear who carries the main responsibility that learning takes place. It is the teacher. In a more modern understanding, and especially in adult education, this is not the case. Much of the responsibility and the decision-making power, what are we going to learn, goes to the students. If this is true in formal education, it is even more so when we go our own way by choosing our own learning objectives. You are in charge, so take responsibility for your learning. 2. Figure out how you learn best. That there are different learning styles is well established by now. We commonly distinguish these 4. Visual, that's when we learn best through seeing things. Oral, that is, we learn best through hearing and speaking about things. Read and write, that's when we learn through reading and writing about things. And the kinesthetic style, which means we learn best when we can move about and do something. Now, There is more to it than this, of course. There are not just 4 different types of human beings. Some of us need a challenge, perhaps even competition, to learn well. Others need formal or informal accountability. Some of us learn best together with others and in a formal, structured setting. Perhaps it needs a degree program, diploma, or course to provide this kind of environment. But some of us learn well by themselves, and in this case, perhaps a written goal or statement is helpful. And so, beyond a few main categories, we all have to discover and define our own learning style. Four, set a learning path. Once we know what we would like to learn and how we learn best, we are in a position to determine how we are going to go about learning what we want to learn. Depending on our preferred learning style, we will look in different places to get what we need. Is it a book, a YouTube video, an MP3 lecture, a course or seminar to attend, a mentor we need to find, etc. 5. If necessary, do little bits at a time. Many of us do not have large blocks of time they can allocate to learning. If so, look for little blocks of time, 5 or 10 minutes of reading here and there. It adds up in the longer run. This way, even the toilet can become a learning site. But do be considerate to your housemates. Maybe we will need to switch to audio, books and lectures in order to have learning time while traveling or doing other things. When we work with wood, it is crucial to regularly sharpen the saw. When we work with a pencil, we need to sharpen the pencil from time to time. Providing our mind with fresh ideas has the same function. It sharpens our saw and it sharpens our pencil. Don't let your mind go dull. 6. Find a way to share. There's deep wisdom in the saying that we have not really learned something until we can teach it to someone else. In fact, one of the best ways to learn is to prepare to teach something. If you've ever prepared to teach a book of the Bible, for instance, you probably still know this book quite well. This is part of the reason why I created the learning site. I learn much better if I have to condense my newly acquired insights, whatever they are, in the form of a monthly input. 7. Pay attention to what others are doing. Our best ideas may come from noticing what others are talking about or doing in relation to our field of interest. There may be something to emulate. This is one reason why I follow a number of blogs using Feedly as a blog reader. Every once in a while I scan through the titles to see if there's something that catches my interest. I probably read fewer than 3 in 100 articles and posts, but every now and then I find an idea for an issue of Create a Learning site. 8. Make a to-choose list. Now, you're probably familiar with the to-do list. They are handy, but we probably don't need more of them. We face enough pressure as it is. The problem with a to-do list is that every item must be done. But how about creating a to-choose list? This is a collection of ideas we may want to pursue in the future without pressure or deadlines to ever complete all or even more than a few items on the list. We collect them so that we have something to choose from. They are options, not must-dos. I keep a list of potential subjects for an issue of Create a Learning site. Whenever I run into an idea, I make sure I add it to the list. I may never write an issue on it, but it's nice to have this to-choose list. Plus, I make sure I don't lose or forget a good idea. They're too valuable to rely on memory. Similarly, I keep a long list of books I may like to read someday. I use an Amazon wish list for this. Its purpose is not to read every book on the list. It is to always have books to choose from when I ask myself, what would I like to read next? So how about starting a to-choose list with learning ideas? Nine, use the digital toolbox. This is my ebook with internet resources for studying and teaching books of the Bible. I usually revise it in late spring, early summer, and the new edition came out a few weeks ago. You have to sign up for monthly updates from my blog on the website at www.wilrens.org, and then you get access to it. This is if you don't have any ideas of your own what to learn next. Perhaps the toolbox can help you find a place to start. Scan through it and see if there are any links or subjects that capture your interest. If there's a resource that you may like to learn how to use, explore and find something to learn. In review, here are my 9 ideas for learning. Take responsibility for your learning. Figure out how you learn best. Ask, what would I like to learn? Set a learning path. If necessary, do little bits at a time. Find a way to share. Pay attention to what others are doing. Make a to-choose list and use the toolbox.
Zo,